what's going on in the Rams tight end room, and remembering Charlie Cowan. This is RamView. Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the June 19th, 2023 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word. KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having yourself some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at Temple City Auto Repair.com. So a lot of stuff to talk about today. Interesting stuff, NFL gambling, some NFL news. Want to talk about the Rams tight end room. Want to take a look at week 8 and the Rams and Cowboys. Just taking a brief look and remembering the career of Charlie Cowan, who today is his birthday. But before we get to that, the Suns have made the deal to bring Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards, formerly a long time ago known as the Washington Bullets. And Chris Paul is going to be sent to Washington. He's going to get bought out. He's going to be a free agent. Everyone's talking about him coming to the Lakers or the Clippers. And the thing that made it interesting to me was the NBA used to have players that played, and they keep making moves for these stars who don't play anymore. Now, 82 games used to be what you should play, right? The stars played 78 to 82. Now, if somebody plays 70, they're an Iron Man. And I was looking at the Suns roster right now with Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. Now they're the ones that are going to unseat the less flashy Jokic and Jamal Murray. Everyone's hoping for it. I think that's what it sounds like they are. But if you look at what the Suns have done, and I'm going to compare this also with what the Clippers are talking about right now. So the Suns got rid of Chris Paul. Okay, Chris Paul, who had a great career, he's always hurt in the playoffs, always kind of falls short. So they're going to run Kevin Durant, okay? Kevin Durant is going to be 34, okay? He is 34, I think. The ages of 32, 33, and 34, these last 3 seasons, Kevin Durant has played 35, 55, and 47 games. But we're counting on Kevin Durant. Devin Booker is turning 27. He only played 53 games last season. And in the last 6 seasons, he has only played 70 games once. In the COVID shortened year 3 years ago, the NBA played about 72 games. So these guys are missing games left and right. Bradley Beal, who I really like, Bradley Beal, the last 4 years at the ages of 26, 27, 28, and 29, has played 57, 60, 40, and 50 games. Yeah, and people were complaining about, someone was talking about, well, Phoenix, man, they're just going to roll over everybody. Well, who's going to play when these guys don't play, right? You traded Mikal Bridges. You traded Cam Johnson. Who's going to play when these guys don't play? DeAndre Ayton pretty much kind of takes his act out there every day, but they're talking about trading him. And now the talk is Chris Paul coming back to the Clippers. Let's look at Chris Paul these last couple of years. He's 36 and 37 years. At the ages of 36 and 37, he played 65 and 59. But we're not even going to count all the playoff games he's missed. Paul George with the Clippers the last 4 years, his ages 29, 30, 31, and 32, has played 48, 54, 31, and 56 games. That first season with the Clippers was the COVID year, the year they were in the bubble. The team played 72 games. George only played 48. Kawhi Leonard with the Clippers, at his ages 28, 29, 30, and 31, he played 57 in the COVID year, 52, then missed all of the previous season, and then last season, he 21-22, he missed all of that. In 22-23, he only played 52 games. So again, just like the Suns, the Clippers make this big move for Chris Paul. So is it back to, is it Powell that's going to carry them again? Is it Nicholas Batum? Who is it? Who's going to carry them, because these guys keep missing games, and it's interesting. You think their only job is to play basketball. That's it. Why is that too much to do? And yet it seems like it. And I know there are some injuries that are legit, but man, I don't know. Yeah, they got a problem there in the NBA. I think maybe they should shorten the season down to 60 games. All right, real quick here, getting a little bit of Ram news as we get into the show. Really happy you're with us, joining us. Our numbers have spiked a little bit. We're really spiked upward. We're really grateful for that, especially in this off season. Just thank you for clicking on. Our numbers on Spotify have picked up, which I was really losing hope. But please hit like, subscribe, leave comments. Love to talk football and sports here. All right. So PFF is already projecting Demarcus Robinson to be a starter for the Rams, right? I mean, Demarcus Robinson was just signed, right? So it's Kupp in the slot, and they got Van Jefferson, and then on the right there, they got Demarcus Robinson. And I'm just kind of curious what happened to Tyler Johnson. Puka Nacua, he was the steal of the draft, right? Now, I'm not anti-Demarcus Robinson or Puka Nacua, but that third spot feels very fluid. And it feels like, barring an injury to Cooper Kupp or Van Jefferson, it feels like that third receiver slot is going to remain fluid. They're not committing any big money there. So, yeah, you could run Demarcus Robinson out there. You rotate in Tutu Atwell, and then you see what you got with everybody else. Skoranek, by and large, is a special teams guy. He'll get some reps on the field in the offense, but he does other things. He blocks. He does everything else. So I think his position is secure. But then you got Lance McCutcheon, Austin Trammell, and then you got the UDFAs that came in this year. Xavier Smith, he's a burner out of Florida A&M. Sam Jones, Tyler Hudson, and such. And so you just wonder about that receiver room. It's going to be fluid. It just feels like they're not going to commit to one guy. And I don't think everybody's going to be on this team. I mean, that's like 9 names right here in the wide receiver room. And I don't think they're going to commit to all these guys. Wait, is it 9 or is it 12? Let's see. The 3 starters, 3. And then you got Tyler Johnson and Puka. That's 5. Then you got Atwell, 6, McCutcheon, 7, Trammell, 8, Skoranek, 9. Then you got Sam Jones, Xavier Smith, and Tyler Hudson. So there's 12 guys there. And so it'll be interesting. I think a veteran's going to get the boot. I think that could be Tyler Johnson. I think Atwell's going to make this team. He has to make the team. And I think he's going to give every opportunity to succeed, because they're going to need his speed. And so that's one of the things to just be interested about. And especially as you talk about the offense, is you're going to talk about the tight end room. Right now it's Tyler Higbee, Bryson Hopkins, Hunter Long, Davis Allen, and Christian Sims. And it's interesting. Tyler Higbee, after 306 career catches, by far the most prolific tight end in Rams history. And I totally thought he was toast and he would be released before June 1st. I thought he would go on a salary cap move. He just turned 30. Now, he had a really good year catching the ball. He caught 72 passes in terms of volume, but it was his worst yards per catch since becoming a starter. His career average is 10 yards a catch. He was down to 8.6. His drops were up. His pass blocking dipped, and his run blocking fell all the way down to average and borderline horrible. He's 6'6", 255. Everything's to like about Higbee, but given where he is in his career, you have to wonder what his future is. Before June 1st, if the Rams had cut him, which is I thought was what they would do, it would have saved them close to 4 rocks, 3.9 against the cap. Now, if they release him or trade him, he could save the team 6.75 in cap space. And you have to wonder, is he on the downside of his career? He didn't have a great year last year. He got hurt. He had the knee injury before. I think it was a knee injury before the Super Bowl. And you have to wonder, is he on the downside? And if we come out of camp and these other receivers are producing, you have to wonder what's going to happen to Tyler Higbee, because yeah, he is a good receiver, but his blocking was solid all throughout his career. And I think it was the one thing that was overlooked. And you have to wonder if he's on thin ice. Right now you have Bryson Hopkins. He's 6'4", 245. He played 12 games last year, got 173 snaps and caught 7 passes. His run blocking actually graded out as much improved from what it was before, but he's built to be a pass catching tight end. I will be grateful, even if Bryson Hopkins is cut, for the seal block he threw in Super Bowl 56 on Cooper Kupp's jet sweep on 4th down on the final drive. Bryson Hopkins, they could retire his jersey after that play because we were all on edge. The next tight end in line there is Hunter Long, and he was a guy the Rams were interested in a few years ago, but the Dolphins drafted him. 3rd round pick. He's been in Miami 2 years. He's only had 2 targets in his career. He's 6'5", 253, and they're waiting for him to do something. It's like, come on, dude, you got to do something. And this is his opportunity with the Rams. And you have to wonder what the Rams envision him as, because Hunter Long, of course, came over in the Jalen Ramsey trade, but they still drafted Davis Allen out of Clemson, 6'6", 245. And people are high on him. They like him. It was a real deep tight end draft. And you have to wonder how they view Davis Allen, draft pick. He's going to have to burn out really bad to not make this team. And they've seen a lot of Bryson Hopkins. People are waiting for Hunter Long, and Tyler Higbee's getting long in the tooth. So you have to wonder, okay, who do the Rams go with? The guys that they're waiting to develop, or the guys they've already seen, which is Tyler Higbee and Bryson Hopkins. And then the guy that Sean McVay was talking about, and it's kind of interesting because I saw his highlights at Bowling Green, is UDFA undrafted free agent Christian Sims. Sims is 6'4", 240. He's a pass catcher. He's not really a blocker. You know who you look like? He looked like Gerald Everett. And that's what I'm thinking sometimes, is that when what the Rams are expecting, out of Bryson Hopkins and even Christian Sims, are they expecting them to be a Gerald Everett type as a complement piece to a Tyler Higbee, a Hunter Long, or maybe a Davis Allen? So 5 tight ends in the building. Definitely 2 of them are going to go. I can't see the Rams keeping more than 3 tight ends on the roster, and even that's flexible because Ben Skoranek blocks like a tight end. And so if there's any doubt, the Rams will make moves. Also, if any of these guys, Hopkins, Hunter Long, Davis Allen, long shot, Christian Sims, real long shot, if any of them break out between July and August, Tyler Higbee can be moved. And he can be moved with no real damage. They save close to $7 million if he's released or traded. I can't imagine anyone really wanting him right now to pick up that kind of salary right now. But it'll be interesting to see. And if there's more money, that makes some of the free agents that might be available out there available for the Rams. And so something to think about when you look at the tight end room. I put Bryson Hopkins, Christian Sims in that Gerald Everett look. And then, of course, Higbee, Hunter Long, and Davis Allen are in that more down in the dirt. They're going to knock heads a little bit, linemen. Davis Allen, though, is light, and it'll be interesting to see if he could put on some weight. And there, he's the new red zone threat, right? You keep hearing about every year the Rams got a new red zone threat. Lance McCutcheon, Jacob Harris. He's a red zone threat. So wanted to get that out of the way. Around the NFL, gambling news is out there. There's another NFL star. There's talk of another NFL star, more prominent than the ones that have been nailed already. He's about to be exposed for gambling. Teams are having in-person training. There's a 32-page document working its way around that they're having in-person meetings with players and teams to go over 6 points about gambling. You think they're no-brainers, but people bet. It's unbelievable for players. 1, don't bet on the NFL, period. 2, don't have someone place a bet for you. They call that ghost betting, I think. 3, don't gamble at your team's facility, stadium, while traveling for a road game or staying at a team hotel. Don't share team inside information. Don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season. And don't play daily fantasy football because that's become kind of monetized as well. It's interesting because I think a lot of people put sports gambling on the back burner because the athletes make so much money right now. You know, it's like they make so much money that it just doesn't seem possible that they could actually risk everything by gambling. But I don't know because I've never been any kind of a gambler outside of, hey, shut up, my team's going to win, I'll bet you a pizza, or I don't know, $5. I think I bet $30. I did. Super Bowl, was it Super Bowl 19? I think it was. 49ers Dolphins. I said, there's no way Marino's going to have success against the 49ers defense. I got laughed at work. And one guy bet me $20 and another guy said he wanted a piece of it. So I made $30. And that was the last time I ever bet. But I was just win, lose. And but I never got into it. But I do know some people that have, and some people do it very professional. I've got some friends that can do it, people I know that do it, and it doesn't affect their lives. I've had others who go crazy into it. And in fact, I knew somebody once that was their life was threatened, and because they owed money to a gambler. And so, yeah, it's like matches, right? You shouldn't play with it, but you'd think an NFL player with the money they're making, even at the lowest end, would understand that it's not worth the risk. But sometimes I heard it's about the juice. It's about the excitement more than just making money. It's just the thrill of it. Again, I wouldn't know. I don't gamble. I don't do point spreads here. I'll say who's going to win. I'll say Rams are going to win 28-20 or something, but I don't really do it in thinking of terms of over, unders, giving points. I don't even know how to read a betting line. But it's become a big thing in the NFL. A couple of Detroit Lions, Quintez Cephas and C.J. Moore of the Detroit Lions, and Shaka Toney of the Washington Commanders. They've all been suspended indefinitely by the NFL starting this season. A couple of other Lions, Stanley Berryhill and wide receiver Jameson Williams, are suspended for the first 6 games of this season for violating the gambling policy. And Colts corner, who we talked about a couple episodes ago, Isaiah Rodgers, who was expected to be this centerpiece of the Colts secondary. He is I think next to us is it Forbes, the kid out of Kansas State, and Rodgers is expected to be the key guy there. And now it looks like he might not only be gone for the season, but he might have to kiss the baby and be gone forever because he did a lot of gambling, and he's waiting for the NFL, the Roger Goodell guillotine to drop on him. So that bears watching in terms of the going into the 2023 season. And again, as we make our picks and view teams, everything can change in a heartbeat. Everything can change in a heartbeat. Okay, mandatory OTAs have kind of ended. Players not signing, not reporting, and all that stuff. Stephon Diggs restructured his contract in the offseason, and he's upset by the actions or the lack of action by Buffalo. There was a rumor out there he wanted DeAndre Hopkins, who hasn't signed yet. He's made his visits, but Stephon Diggs is upset. Remember, he got hot last year at the playoff game. A lot of talk about Daniel Hunter, the Vikings edge guy. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, I heard some Ram fans talking about it, and I kind of just put it on the back burner. I wasn't going to pay attention to it. But then I saw a link today that he might be a candidate for the 49ers, and I got real excited. And I know you're thinking, man, why do you want the 49ers to get another talented edge guy? And I don't know. I like the desperation in the 49ers because as they continue to age, and Danielle Hunter, he's going into his 9th year. He's had a neck injury. I'd love to see the 49ers give up some draft picks and some capital, and as they put all into another season of hoping that this is the window they get back to the Super Bowl. So Daniel Hunter is holding out right now, and people like him and are projecting him as trade bait. But he's been to 3/4 Pro Bowls, and he's a 3rd-round pick from 2015. He's had a good career, 71 career sacks. Technically, he missed all of 2020, so he's only played 8 seasons, but he had a herniated disc in his neck. Finally, he's back to full strength, and last year he had 10.5 sacks. As far as the Rams are concerned, I just don't think he fits right now. The Rams drafted heavy with edge, and I think they want to give those guys a chance to develop. If someone like him was out there at a decent price as the season progresses, and maybe they pick off a few more wins that they didn't expect to pick off, then you make that move, kind of like that Fred Dean move that the 49ers made in 81 that changed everything for them. They went from a good team to a contending team when Fred Dean went to the 49ers from the Chargers, got his contract reworked, and then the whole back half of the season, the dude was on fire. Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones wants more dough. He had 15.5 sacks last year, and if he was in a world without Aaron Donald, everyone would know his name, and everyone would think the best of him. I'm sure Jared Goff still dreams of him, and that great Chief game that was 54-51. What I remember about that game, one of the things I remember is Chris Jones was constantly in the backfield for the Chiefs. He was constantly in the Rams backfield, and he's a good player. He's making 28 rocks in the last year of his contract in 2023. He's 29, and he's looking for a big payday, and I guess the Chiefs are in negotiations with him, so that'll be interesting to say. But right now, they don't expect to. He was a no-show. When it comes to the designated franchise tag, Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs will not play. They're not signing. That gives them 10.7. That's guaranteed 10.7 for 1 year to be franchise tagged. They want Christian McCaffrey money, which is something in the neighborhood of 13 rocks a year, and it's multi-years, like 3 years. It's hard to make that pick. I see the money they gave Christian McCaffrey, and he played last year, but the previous 3 seasons in Carolina, he was banged up a lot. I know because he was on my fantasy team, and he was a bum on my fantasy team. Had a nice year in Frisco last year, but it's going to be interesting to see how these next couple of years play out with him on the Frisco payroll. And teams are leery. Again, Saquon Barkley has had injuries. Josh Jacobs had some issues. They've had Jacobs has been pretty consistent, good back, but he's got some stuff. And do you want to give them more than that? I think why don't you just offer them 12 mil or something, or offer them a 2-year deal and see what you get. But I wouldn't commit to anything long term. Of course, free agents that are still out there: Jadeveon Clowney, Yannick Ngakoue, Chase Young on the trading block, Justin Houston, free agent, Kareem Hunt, Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, and DeAndre Hopkins are also offensive players that are still out there, as well as guard Dalton Risner. So it'll be interesting because the Rams are using their money, hopefully, to sign the rest of their draft class. They've signed 4 of them. I haven't seen any news about any other players officially signed. And so hopefully that will get done. Okay, new feature here as we go into the break. The Kistler Law trivia question of the day. This is fun. I enjoy this. The Kistler Law trivia question of the day. And the question to you is, who is the Rams' career leader in interceptions with 46? Look, we even told you how many interceptions was the most in Ram history career-wise. But you have to guess who the player was. Was it A, Eddie Meter, B, Nolan Cromwell, C, Todd Light, or D, Trumaine Johnson? That's A, Eddie Meter, B, Nolan Cromwell, C, Todd Light, or Trumaine Johnson at D. And which one of these guys is the all-time Rams career interception leader with 46? Okay, I'm Joe Tarosian, and I was a sports writer for 21 years, and now I write books, and I do RamView, thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law and Temple City Auto Repair. And I was one of the founding members of Mid-Valley Sports. Those guys cover the NFL right now. They're in the room with the Chargers, and I'm in the room with the Rams. I do this, and I write books to supplement my income, as I am a pastor of a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Naz. You can find us right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual and across social media. My Twitter handle is JoeT13B, and it's also JoeT13B for Instagram. And I think that takes care of the commercial. So cool. All right. On this date in Ram history in 1990, the Rams traded Greg Bell to the Raiders for a 4th-round 1991 pick. Bell played 6 games for the Raiders. 164 yards, 3.5 carries, 1 touchdown. But he went to a team that was already featuring Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson. Even Napoleon McCallum was back from his military service. So there was little room for Greg Bell. Rams got 2,000-yard years out of him. Buffalo got a 1,000-yard season out of him. I think he led running backs or the NFL in touchdowns in 88 and 89. Notre Dame guy, had a nice career, came to the Rams in the Eric Dickerson 3-way trade between the Colts and Bills. So he had a nice career, but he was going to hold out. And the Rams said, nah, I think by the summer of 1990, Georgia was already in negotiations with St. Louis, so they weren't going to take any new contracts there. That 4th-round pick turned into cornerback Robert Bailey, who spent about 4 seasons with the Rams. You might remember there was a game in New Orleans where there was a punt and they did that misdirection and Bailey fielded it in the end zone and no one was paying attention and he returned it for a touchdown. That was a pretty cool moment in an otherwise bleak era for the Rams. He ended up with the Cowboys in 95, got a ring, ended up in Baltimore in 2000, and finished his career in 2001 with an injury, a broken neck, actually, and he was forced to retire after stints with the Rams, Redskins, Cowboys, Dolphins, Lions, and Ravens. So he got 2 rings. Nice career for Robert Bailey. Bell never played again after the 1990 season. Born on this day in 1938, Charlie Cowan, Rams left tackle, offensive lineman from 1961 through 1975. Cowan was a 4th-round, 45th overall pick in 1961 out of New Mexico Highlands. He played in 206 of 210 games, started 186 and went to 3 Pro Bowls, was initially a left guard, played some right tackle, and then from 1969 to 1975, he played left tackle, and he was locked in there as our left tackle. He was eventually replaced by Doug France. He passed away in 1998 at the age of 59, really young. But Charlie Cowan on the left, Tom Mack at left guard. Again, the Rams basically started, you do know this, for 10 years. You had Cowan, you had Mack, you had Ken Iman, and you had Joe Schiavelli. That was 4/5 of your offensive line for 10 seasons, literally 10 seasons. And the right tackle, Joe Carollo, who else? Bob Brown, the Hall of Famer. And then eventually it became John Williams. And John Williams filled out that right tackle spot through about 78 until about 79. And then guess who became the right tackle? It's a guy named Jackie Slater. And he was pretty phenomenal. I thought it was interesting that born on the same day is another Rams left tackle in 1995, Joseph Noteboom. Noteboom turns 28 today. He was a 3rd-round pick of the Rams in 2018, 89th overall out of TCU. And interesting, you have a classic Rams left tackle in Charlie Cowan, and the current Rams left tackle who's hoping for some similar success is Joseph Noteboom, and they're born on the same day, although, some 60 years apart, some 57 years apart. Also interesting to note about Charlie Cowan is that he played left tackle along the offensive line, and he was big. He was considered big. He was 6'4", 264. Joseph Noteboom plays right now at 6'5", 321. 6'5", 321. It was interesting. I mentioned it was Charles Dejournay the other day. He was playing nose tackle for the Rams at 6'5", 263. And the size of these players are just enormous here. Want to add one more thing because we won't be on the air tomorrow because tomorrow's Tuesday. In 1949, tomorrow, Dave Elmendorf will celebrate his birthday. He'll be turning 74. Dave Elmendorf was a 3rd-round pick of the Rams, 63rd overall, 1971 out of Texas A&M. He was one of the draft picks accrued when they made the massive deal after George Allen went to the Redskins and they had the Ramskins. Remember Patios and Dyer and Talbert and all those guys went, Jack Pardee, they all went to the Redskins, and all these draft picks and other things came back to the Rams, and the Rams used the 1st-round pick to draft Isaiah Robertson, and they used the 3rd-round pick to take Dave Elmendorf. Elmendorf is not in contention as an all-time Ram interception leader, although he did have 27 interceptions in 9 seasons. He played in 130 games for the Rams, started 130 games for the Rams, never missed a game. And he's an interesting link because literally for close to 28 seasons from 1959, I believe it was, through 1987, the Rams in the secondary had Eddie Meter, Dave Elmendorf, and Nolan Cromwell at safety. Elmendorf was mostly a strong safety. Eddie Meter was a free safety. Nolan bounced around a little bit, but they were out there. Safety, experienced, excellent safeties in the Rams secondary. And it was kind of, you got to figure you're a Ram fan when you have that kind of consistency. You feel good. You wish it would have extended. We could have kept John Johnson a few years ago. But anyway, I digress. Not Nolan Cromwell. Dave Elmendorf turns 74 tomorrow. His last game was Super Bowl 14. And unfortunately, early on, people were blaming him for Eddie Brown's failure when John Stallworth was in single coverage on Rod Perry. They initially said it was Dave Elmendorf, and it wasn't Elmendorf. It was Eddie Brown who botched the play and hung Rod Perry out to dry. Not that I'm bitter or remember any of those things, but I am bitter, and I do remember a lot of those things. Okay, last half of the show here. We want to get into Rams-Cowboys, Week 8. Rams are in Dallas, October 29th, 2023. The all-time record between them, they've met 28 times. Cowboys lead the series 15-13, although in the playoffs, the Rams are 5-4. Isn't that interesting? The Rams had playoff losses to the Cowboys in 73, 75, 78, right? 1980. And it just seemed like, man, the Rams have lost to the Cowboys a lot in the playoffs, but they won in 76, they won in 79, they won in 83, they won in 85, and the Rams won also in 2017. The Rams have had success against the Cowboys, even in Dallas, winning 3 times in Dallas. So there is history there. And of course, we never root for the Cowboys. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott's quarterback and Mike McCarthy's calling the plays. And we'll talk about their offense around the loop. But right now we're going to focus on the defense as we look at the Rams' schedule, working our way all the way through. And right now we're just going to look at the Cowboys' defense. The Cowboys will be coming off a bye in the last few years. They're about 500 coming off of byes. The Steelers last week, in yesterday's or Friday's discussion, they were coming off a bye as well. The Cowboys have lost Dalton Schultz, Connor McGovern, Ezekiel Elliott, but they brought in Brandon Cooks, Stephon Gilmore. They re-signed Leighton Vander Esch and Tony Pollard. They drafted Mozzie Smith out of Michigan, first round, 27th overall, I think. Luke Schoonmaker, tight end. Demarion Overshown, linebacker, off-ball linebacker in Texas. They do open the season 6 games before having a bye. They play the Giants, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Patriots, the 49ers, and Chargers. I see them beating the Giants. I see them maybe dropping it to the Jets. I'm going to give the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, who's had success in Dallas before. They're going to beat the Cardinals. I see them beating the Patriots. And I think early in the season, because there is some unclarity or ambiguousness about the 49ers quarterback situation, is Brock Purdy going to be fully ready to play? And is he going to be sharp? Or is it going to be Trey Lance or Sam Darnold? I'm going to give the Cowboys the win against the 49ers. And I'm going to go with the Chargers against the Cowboys on Monday night. So I see the Cowboys as 4-2 as they get ready to face the 2-4 Rams in this Week 8 game. Looking at the Cowboys defense, the safeties are solid, not spectacular. Free safety Donovan Wilson was re-signed. And again, he's solid, but he's not very special in coverage. Strong safety, Jaron Kearse. He's 6'4", 215. Got a little Cam Chancellor to him there. He's come on the last few years, but he's susceptible in coverage. But again, solid against the run, the heavy safety type, right? Now, at cornerback, the move was bringing in Stephon Gilmore. And the only question is, Gilmore, who finished 9th out of 118 rated cornerbacks in the league last year, the question is, is kind of 33-year-old Stephon Gilmore repeat what he did in Indy a year ago. And that's interesting because Gilmore is fantastic last year, and he's a really good safety or a cornerback. But his counterpart is Trevon Diggs. Trevon Diggs is 6'2", 195, fantastic size, and he's a playmaker. He's a great playmaker. But you look at him, and every time I see him play, not size-wise, but he's a bigger version of Janoris Jenkins. He used to be with the Rams, right? Jackrabbit Jenkins. He's just one of those guys that he is feast or famine, heaven or hell. He graded out for as much attention as he gets, because he does pick off passes. For as much attention as he gets, he's really middle of the pack. 42 out of 118 corners rated by PFF, and so he is average because he's susceptible. He guesses, he jumps, and he gets torched. And you're running, I don't know, you're running Cooper Kupp out there. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how he matches up against some of these other Ram receivers, because you got to believe they're going to put Gilmore on Kupp. Dallas runs a 4-3 defense. They got 3 linebackers they start, but literally the only one with any real experience is Leighton Vander Esch, who they re-signed. He's a solid off-ball linebacker. They brought back, they're starting Damone Clark. He's a journeyman, very average. And Jabril Cox will be starting in the middle. You know, he was a guy that a lot of people circled that maybe the Rams should have took at 57. And I think the scouting department really knew what they were doing when they passed on him. He was taken 4th round, 116 in 2021 by the Cowboys. That was the year the Rams drafted Tutu. But since that time, he's only played 46 snaps, and there's nothing special about him. So they're vulnerable at their linebacker spot. On the edge, Micah Parsons. Okay, good. We're done. We know what Micah Parsons is. And then on the other side, they have DeMarcus Lawrence, who suddenly he's racking up the years. Did you know DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be 31 this year? But more interestingly is he hasn't had a double-digit sack season since 2018. He tackles poorly, and he's only average against the run. So he really needs to get to the quarterback, and he's not getting to the quarterback anymore. And they're spending some money for him. So that's a vulnerability there. And they're really loose along the front line. The Cowboys are. The former Bruin, Osa Odigizua, 6'2", 280, played at UCLA. He's a starter, but he's not for long. At some point, they're going to move him. He's just not special. But there's nothing there right now that the Cowboys have. And he's also, I view 280 as a little light unless you're Aaron Donald. That's why they drafted Mozzie Smith, 27th overall out of Michigan. He's 6'3", 323, classic space eater. More modern version of Ashawn Robinson. But he's not expected to be Chris Jones or anything like that. So the Cowboys are vulnerable, like so many teams. We always talk about the secondary, but so many teams are vulnerable against the run. And the linebackers for the Cowboys, outside of Vander Esch, they're young. The safeties are solid, but not spectacular. So it leaves it to the corners and this dude named Micah Parsons. And if Micah Parsons is on the field, everyone else looks better, right? Even DeMarcus Lawrence, everybody looks better if Micah Parsons is on the field. So that means the Cowboys are dangerous. If this game was played week 12, maybe a month later, I could see the Rams pulling something. I could see them doing this. I see the offense of the Rams having success against the Cowboys. I really do. But I don't know if it's going to be enough success just yet to overcome their own defense and stopping the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, and all those guys. I just don't see the Rams having enough firepower just to overcome that, to offset that. I think, again, by midseason, a little bit later on, I do see the Rams defense getting better. But as it is in this game, I see the Rams losing in Dallas, Cowboys over the Rams. And as of now, that would make the Rams 2-6 on the season. And next week, they would be heading to Green Bay in week 9. So, I know people are going to accuse me of being a Ram hater, but I'm not a Ram hater. Okay, let's get ready to wrap this up.
It was a stone groove.
It was a stone groove, but I'm not done yet. You can stone groove yourself, so stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane,
Stay in your lane, and let me finish this. The answer to the trivia question, The Kisser Law Rams trivia question of the day is, who is the Rams' career leader in interceptions with 46? Well, it's not Tremaine Johnson. It's not Todd Light, who had a better career than people give him credit for. And it's not Nolan Cromwell. It is the dude we talked about a little bit before, Dave Elmendorf. It is Eddie Meter. Eddie Meter is the Rams' all-time interception leader with 46 career interceptions. So if you got that, pat yourselves on the back. Okay, we are done now, and we're going to let you go. It's funny, as we get closer to the season, there's just more information to share, and I noticed the shows are extending past the 30-plus minute mark. My sweet spot was 35. So if it's too long, I apologize. But God bless. Take care. Be sure to like. Be sure to hit a comment. Be sure to say something. Be sure to share. Follow us on Spotify. And God bless. Take care. And we will see you on Wednesday. Thanks for watching RamView.